Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Michael J.
So, Modern and Pioneer have also been severely, shall we say, infected by these companions. Influenced, I don't know what words you want to use.
They've they've had an impact on the game. I mean, we're probably looking at the first ever banning before a card is printed.
Not in Modern or Pioneer, right?
Not in Modern or Pioneer, but just on the topic of Companion. I just think it's really interesting. They're gonna have a ban and restricted list announcement next week.
Yeah.
And, just if you're just reading the wins, it sure seems like a situation in which there's a decent chance that Lurrus is going to be disallowed as a companion in Vintage. They actually just recently changed the rules to allow this as part of the most recent rules update.
Yeah.
So they don't actually need to ban Lurrus from Vintage in order to ban it as a companion. But I just think it's interesting. I mean, they haven't announced what they're going to do, but Vintage is kind of in a really weird, unplayable state, and I wouldn't be surprised if they take some action in Legacy. Modern and Pioneer, on the other hand, I think are a wild, wild west for companions.
I think that might be an understatement. You want to start with the Modern Super Qualifier from, I think it was the 9th?
Definitely.
Like 3 days ago or something? So,
yeah.
To start with, the winner's deck was played by Insano, and I think that is an apt name. So this deck is an 80-card Valakut combo deck, and not surprisingly, its companion is Yorion Sky Nomad, but 80 cards, 2 Valakuts, 2 Arboreal Grazer, 2 Ren, and 6. What is going on here?
This isn't even weird. This deck, to me, looks like it basically builds itself. I'm not even trying to be funny. It's a smart deck, but this is not weird. Okay, to start with, 80 cards? That's not weird. Yorion's busted in half. Okay, so once you got to play 80 cards, sometimes you got to play more than just... for instance, you got to play a little bit more than just the Cryptic Command and Growth Spiral and so on. Next of all, there are no insane decks with Arkham's Astroab. Once you have Arkham's Astroab in your deck, there are no rules. Nothing matters anymore. There's no rules anymore. So, no, I don't think it's weird. If anything, this deck is the monochrome of restraint. Now, here's some smart things going on here. First of all, Arkham's Astroab, great card to blink with Yorion. Second of all, dude, Abundant Growth. Yeah. It's the OG Arkham's Astroab for people who want to have 8 Astroabs. Sick. Love it. It's really good kind of way. Next, Icebane Kotal, very smart card to blink with Yorion. Not a very good card to make. I think that Magic's better if the old sets use cards that were printed in an organic, real way, but that's a separate topic. In this deck, it's pretty good. Ren and 6, it's an added dimension. It's one of those, it's not really part of the game plan, and you don't want to draw 2, but it's not bad to be, the backup Uro. It's like a backup slow way to try to draw some extra cards and keep your mana going. What do you think of the use of 0 Primeval Titan?
Yeah, there's just no room in only an 8.
Dude, you can blink Primeval Titan with Yorion.
You certainly can. So I think that you are correct in that perhaps this is far less crazy than some of the other implementations of 80-card decks or companion decks that we've seen. If anything, the Valakut strategies were the ones that were breaking 60 cards already, right? Just to fit enough mountains. You remember there was a trend. It was we got to go 63, 65.
65, 66. Just a little heavy.
Mountains. Yeah.
Dude, I feel that. I totally feel that. I'm with it. But I think 80 is a lot better these days.
Ketria Triome.
For what it's worth. Don't get me wrong, Yorion is obviously not doing great things, for Magic. But honestly, Magic would be more fun if it was 80 cards. I'm just saying.
Maybe.
Just saying.
Maybe.
All right, so
it's funny because you and I have spent our entire careers trying to get these 60-card decks smaller and smaller, right? You're the one who once said to me, sometimes WotC prints library manipulation that is too good. It's our job to find it and play it.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. You see, the game being more fun doesn't mean that there's less room for us to do the types of stuff that we do. When the game is more fun to start with, people have more tolerance for people like you and I maxing the edge we can get from our library manipulation spells. I mean, dude.
This deck is gross. 4 Abundant Growth, 4 Arkham's Astrolabe, 4 Ice Fang. I mean,
Arkham's Astrolabe is gross. At least the Abundant Growth is like color pie appropriate.
Well, the Arkham's Astrolabe it's just a color pie unto itself.
Yeah, and it powers up the Ice Fang Codal for no reason.
It is just crazy to me to see a deck that's 80 cards, that's based on library manipulation and based on mana acceleration, 2 Search for Tomorrow, 2 Arboreal Grazer. That's just makes
Why? Why wouldn't you just use the good ones like Growth Spiral and Uro? Totally reasonable, balanced cards.
Yeah, I don't know if Uro is a reasonably balanced card, but I take your.
I know for sure Growth Spiral's not.
Okay,
dude. What about the 4th place list? The 4th place list is starting to get a little bit of funk up in here. So this is yet another 4 Arkham's Astrolabe, 4 Abundant Growth, Yorion 80. But this one, instead of playing Scape Shift, plays Urza. It's just your standard Uro Urza deck with Emery and Galvanic Blast.
Yeah, well, certainly can draw a lot of cards. The thing that I like about this deck versus the first place deck is that first place deck doesn't punish the opponent enough. You're just going to get your Scape Shift, you're going to get your Valakut, and the game is just going to be over, right? This 4th place list, you're going to get the grind on, and you're going to keep the grind on.
Dude, Blink Gilded Goose, get another one. Just get another food.
Every single card in this deck that is a non-land permanent, Abundant Growth, Mishra's...
No, dude, what about the Spell Bombs, though? The Spell Bombs loose to me.
Well, there's a bunch of Spell Bombs. They got 2 Aether Spell Bomb and 2 Pyrite Spell Bomb.
Yeah.
But I think maybe that is to combo with the Emery part of the deck, right?
Yeah, but is there really nothing else you can play besides Pyrite Spellbomb and Aether Spellbomb?
I think this is just trying to make the deck littler. I don't know. Pyrite Spellbomb is a good card. I think that, obviously not in this list, but I mean, I've seen the
I'm not judging the merits of the card. But dude, I know that it's a fine card. I'm just saying that you got Yorion in your deck, man.
Yeah, some of the Boros Burn decks are just main decking 4 Pyrite Spellbomb now because they don't have enough Sealifiers to go with their Luruses. So,
I mean, if you got to play 80.
Well,
oh no, they're going to play Lurus? Okay, yeah, like the 5th place list after your own heart. Actually, this one didn't even play Pyrite Spellbomb. This is just a Boros aggro deck that it just wanted to get Mishra's Bauble back with its Lurus.
Yeah, this one's barely Boros, right? So it's just got the white lands.
They're all barely Boros.
So it can play Lurus in the sideboard as well as Core Firewalker. I mean, there's real Boros decks that have, a little more. I guess this is as real as anything else. They have 4 Core Firewalker. This deck has Wear Tear. Yes, a deck like this. Although I gotta tell you, I don't really approve of Crash Through over Sealifier, but I guess if that's what you're into, Crash...
Dude, it lets you play 18 land. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but it draws a card, dude.
Yeah, well... I guess... Yeah, but it's also polluting itself with, this 2-mana stuff like Manamorphose. If it just played 1-mana stuff, it wouldn't have to go that direction.
Oh, I don't know. I think Manamorphose is worth playing.
Clearly, if you're going to play a bunch of double white stuff in your mono red,
dude. I was going to say, if your deck has 4 Core Firewalker and 4 Annalurus, that's like part of the mana base.
Yes. I was jesting a little bit. The Manamorphose actually has function in this deck. It's not just a smoother. I really actually love the trend in Modern right now to go towards Abbot of Carol Keep and then a bunch of prowess guys, Soulscar Mage, Monastery Swift Spear. This is, I mean, obviously access to cards like Mishra's Bauble and of course the new card Luris of the Dream Den changed things, but this is actually pretty similar to the Pioneer deck I was playing in at the Pro Tour in Phoenix with all these prowess guys, low to the ground, get in there. This is a Burst Lightning. I don't know about that one. I don't know about Burst Lightning. I think we could do better than that. I think Seal of Fire is literally just a better card than Burst Lightning.
You don't think that this 18 land deck wants to be playing Burst Lightnings?
Well, like, I think Seal of Fire is just literally better than Burst Lightning. This deck
it's not literally better. It is better,
but never going to kick the Burst Lightning. And Seal of Fire
it's an instant.
Yeah, but you can buy it back with Luris. Like, look, if you didn't get Luris 100% of the time, I think I would be sympathetic to that argument. But it's literally, if you hit your third land drop, you have Luris. Seal of Fire is just better.
Okay, so, dude, Yorion strikes with an even weirder deck. The 7th place Song of Creation, Urza, Uro, Kinnan, Emery, Yorion deck with a set of Springleaf drums to help tie the room together.
Oh my god, Kinnan Bonder Prodigy. This is the one that we had a dispute. I guess you win.
Dude, I told you Kinnan, dude. So think about Springleaf drum with Kinnan.
Yeah. I guess you were right. I was just I guess Kinnan is a powerful card without a deck, but if you just stack your deck full of stuff that makes Kinnan look good, hold on.
Very,
very good.
Hold on. It's not exactly a big ask to play with Gilded Goose or Arkham's Astrolabe or Urza. Urza plus Kinnan is poppin'.
Yes, these are cards that have just been played together at some level of popularity, since they've been printed.
Right. Like, this is just real stuff. It's just the only concession to Kinnan here is Springleaf Drum. When you're playing Springleaf Drum instead of the Abundant Growth, you're up to something.
I mean, Springleaf Drum isn't even that bad. The deck is 26.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad. No, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that's the only thing that's being done weird to accommodate Kinnan.
Oh, wait, Wall of Blossoms! Wall of Blossoms, Springleaf Drum, Patrick.
Wall of Blossoms is being done weird to accommodate Springleaf Drum. Plus, obviously, dude, Yorion Wall of Blossoms?
Yes.
Yes. Plus, dude, Wall of Blossoms, that's a good get with Kinnan.
He's bonding. All right, so talk through the Kinnan Song of Creation, the payoff, as it were, to this version of Yorion 80 cards in Modern versus the Valakut deck that won, or the non-Kinnan version we talked about a second ago.
Okay, so there's two different... Here, Song of Creation and Kinnan are actually kind of doing different things. So Song of Creation is kind of the Scape Shift equivalent. Song of Creation is not the real quick play at as soon as you get 4 mana. Song of Creation is it's a way to go super, super, super DI. And then once you start going with Song of Creation, you can go nuts because you can get Kinnan and Urza both together where you're just making a profit off of stuff. And once your Engineer Explosives and Mishra's Baubles are all just bills or zero cost draw twos, the big thing here with Song of Creation is that you don't have to play with weird cards like Valakut or Tons of Mountains. You just get to a spot where you Song of Creation and it gives you this whole other added dimension. It's like a paradoxical outcome, except you play it at the beginning. Instead, you don't need to have this stuff. You just have something in your hand still.
So you have to have kind of a mana engine online before you cast Song of Creation, right? So if you end up losing. No, you don't. So there's you got a couple different. There's basically 3 different scenarios. You can either have reasonable chances of pulling together one of the other options, so that even if you have nothing, you can just sort of
go on faith, like if you have a couple zeros in your hand and have stuff come together. So that's one plan. The second plan is you can have a mana engine in play. This is probably the one you're referring to, and your mana engine could be Urza, it could be Kinnan, or you could just have built up a nice supply of stuff. You know, you got like Drum and Goose, and you just got a few different things, so you got something to work with.
Let's see what happens next.
The third option is having access to chances to get out of it. You see, you can Cryptic Command your Song of Creation, and then just be like, you'll even get 3 more cards at the end if you want. But you can bounce your Song of Creation with Cryptic Command. You can actually destroy it with Engineer Explosives, and you can get the 4th color off of your Astroab or your Drum. So it's actually not that big of a deal. And even if stuff goes south and you end up having to discard your hand, you got a lot of stuff in play that's implied get going again really fast, with stuff like Emery, Urza, Uro could pop out of your graveyard, Kinnan, any of that stuff, you know?
So this deck's long-term plan is to just, like, play a bunch of stuff, right? It doesn't have an infinite sword combo or something like that with Urza, right? Like, it's just, like, playing a bunch of 2-for-1s and very powerful spells and going wide, but not, like, it doesn't win instantaneously or win all in one turn or anything like that. This is just
it can.
A super value deck.
No, it definitely can. You see, if you have Kinnan, like at the beginning, if you end up in a spot where you have both Kinnan and Urza, all your cards tap for 2. If you haven't used Yorion yet, you'll draw your whole deck and have enough mana to play everything.
Oh, okay. That's hot.
Yeah, like if you haven't needed to use Yorion yet, and you have things together, it's not like it's going to come up all the time, because you have to have stuff going pretty reasonably. Like, you can try to do it with just one or the other out of Urza or Kinnan, but if you have both, it's trivial.
So, tell me if this works. You have Song of Creation in play, and presumably you have enough mana to do this. You cast Yorion and blink a bunch of permanents, including Song of Creation. Song of Creation will not be in play at the beginning of your end step, right? It will.
That's correct.
So you don't get the penalty of Song of Creation if you make that sequence, or at least you delay it by a turn.
Right, you get a whole turn later, and Song of Creation only makes you discard during your own end step. So it's not like it sitting in play is going to make you discard on their end step.
Yeah, I think that's probably a really important play pattern for people to know if they've got.
Oh, totally. I should have mentioned that too. It's like the explosives and the Cryptic Command thing. It's just that the Yorion case is so the primary driving thing. It's like if you ever get to Yorion while you're already doing stuff, you're in a world of good. But I think often against people who are fighting back, you're going to have to value Yorion sometimes, you know?
Yeah. I think it's crazy how flexible some of these decks are. Like, Song of Creation is a pretty prohibitive cast, right? It's like 1 teamer, right, for 4 mana.
No, but it's a card that's legal in Modern.
Yeah.
Where Arkham's Astroab is legal, so there are no prohibitive costs.
But along with Cryptic Command, which is triple blue, and Galvanic Blast and Metallic Rebuke, which only work if you have a bunch of artifacts in play. I guess, like...
You have 4 drum, 4 Astroab, 4 Gilded Goose.
What I was really getting at is, isn't it crazy that this is also like a plausible Blood Moon deck?
Yeah, oh no, I love it. Dude. I love it for now. It's kind of like I love it like Cloud Thresher and Cryptic Command in the Cruel Ultimatum, White Sweeper world.
Oh no, I legitimately love that. I mean, Vivid Lands were the truth.
Dude, Weather the Storm is so strong with Song of Creation. Let me just tell you.
No, we don't talk about Weather the Storm.
Oh, yeah, we do.
No, we don't.
Weather the Storm is the truth. This card's underplayed. So it's 1 in a green, instant, gain 3 life.
That way.
And it has Storm. Dude, this card is, it's like What's that? The Nash the Bones, the green gain 100 life card that you only get to play with if you're playing Dredge.
Yeah, Gnaw to the Bone.
Gnaw the Bones. Yeah, exactly. Weather the
Yes.
Storm is like Gnaw the Bones, except instead of playing with Dredge cards, you have to play with like cantrips and mana and
You don't
blue
have to
cards
play
or
with
artifacts.
I mean, I've played against this card, and if your opponent just like casts one thing and then you like lightning bolt their guy at the end of the turn and they just weathered the storm, you just lose on the spot. They just like gain 12 or something.
Right. And that's
awful.
not even like doing something crazy.
No. That's just like having the card in your deck. Like,
Right.
When you say this card is underplayed, what I say is let's keep it that way. We don't talk about Weather the Storm.
Okay.
The only saving grace here is that this is an 80-card deck with a 15-card sideboard, finding room for 2 Weather the Storm. Yeah. Don't you think that if you're going to play very specialized sideboard cards like Weather the Storm or Blood Moon in a deck with
This better
so
not
many
be another
cards-
thing of play 4 copies or whatever.
I mean, it is. I mean,
No, dude, no. Why? You have diminishing returns. Just because you're playing 80 cards doesn't change the diminishing returns.
well, there's diminishing returns on a Blood Moon. There's not diminishing returns on a Weather the Storm.
There is. The second one does nothing. You already won the game by so much.
Oh my god. It's so I've played against this card. It's so bad.
It's unbeatable for
it's
you.
So
Unless
bad.
unless you have like a skullcrack or something in response.
Dude,
you do have to like time it.
I play cards like Lava Dart. Do you know how bad Lava Dart is against Weather the Storm?
That is
It's
pretty
deal
unspeakable.
1, sacrifice a land. Like that's the card in my deck. Their card is gain 12 for 2 mana. Oh my god. You know how good this card is against Prowess? Ugh.
So, dude,
Literally Prowess. That's the only thing I want to play with. Weather.
So we've talked about a lot of Luris and a lot of Yorion. Not surprisingly, because they're the best. But Obosh is also good.
Wait. Before we get to Obosh, there is a Luris deck I wanted to talk about up higher in this tournament.
Yeah?
Did you see the second place deck?
Yeah.
Boggles with Luris in the sideboard?
Yeah, but it doesn't even really do anything with it. I guess you just get back, like, it's kind of sweet to get back Ethereal Armor or whatever.
No, that's not why I like this. So I hate Boggles. It just seems like this dorky not Infect deck, right? Like, it's just like Infect that's good against Burn, right? So, like, it's the same strategy.
That's kind of a gross oversimplification.
It's just like worse than Infect in most situations, much better against Burn. That's how I think about it, right? But, like, people could just, like, answer your stupid 1-1. You're like, I have a 1-1 with Hexproof. But the thing is, like, Luris just lets you buy... but the thing with this deck is, like, basically you just play a 1-1, and then you just load 100 things on it. But it's very, very fragile because they can deal with a 1-1. 1-1s are not very big. But just the fact that you get your 1-1 back, then you can just load all your stuff onto it. And I think that's a pretty... interesting thing that you could do that this deck had a huge hole before. And, you know, in a pinch, you could just play Luris, which has lifelink, load a bunch of enchantments on it, and go to town. That's another thing you could do if they just don't have a removal spell.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this deck full of cards that cost 2 or less, it's pretty strong that you can for sure know that you have a Luris that lets you start playing more of those cards again.
Yeah, Boggles is not... It's not a cerebral deck in the same way as some of these
Dude,
other
I don't
decks.
know. You're selling it short, but I think it's good. You should play Luris if you're going to play Boggles.
Yeah.
You know, insofar as if you're going to play Boggles. So this red-green deck, dude, the 10th place list that Chris Lampa played, dude, Clothis, God of Destiny, Glorybringer, Bone Crusher Giant. You know, there are some people you just know are like when you have a deck that has Blood Moons in the sideboard and Magus of the Moons in the main deck, you're not immediately going to think this must be the good guy. But when you see the mix of cards alongside it, you're like, yeah, this is the good guy. Yeah, just turn 1, Arboreal Elf or Utopia Sprawl. Turn 2, Bone Crusher Giant or Clothis.
What is the definition of the good guy? This deck can play a second turn Magus of the Moon. This is certainly not a fun deck to play against for certain players.
I think what makes it the good guy is the relative difference in strategy compared to the rest of the field. Like when so many of the decks that we're looking at are either creatureless combo decks full of all card draw and mana, or tons of the same cards over and over again. Like, oh my God, there's so many Ren and Sixes and Uros. And, when you see a bunch of cards that are sweet, like Glorybringer and Bonecrusher Giant and Clothis, even some of the cards in this deck that are like really strong that have seen plenty of play, like Pyromancer. It's not like the Pyromancer is a form of play that's really played out. I think that what makes it the good guy is there being less of it in the metagame.
So I actually agree. I do think this is the good guy, and I think that for me, the reason I think it's the good guy is this is just like a fair Glorybringer deck. Like, we're talking about a format with some wild potential interactions, and this deck is just like, no, I've got a 4/4 for 5, and that's just the legitimate top of my strategy.
Well, I mean, Obosh is the top of your strategy.
So,
and that's part of what's sweet about this deck is that in Modern, because of the prevalence of cards like Arbor Elf and Utopia Sprawl, you actually have reasonable chances of consistently being able to go 1, 3, 5, or 1, 3, and then do something else to help set it up, like play a 3 and a 1, and then Obosh.
So I think that this deck is cool. I think that it has to lean in a little bit harder on certain aspects, and I'm not a huge fan of Utopia Sprawl here.
What?
Yeah. So,
oh, you're crazy. You're crazy.
You think Utopia Sprawl is better than just another mana acceleration creature?
Oh yeah. So first of all, Utopia Sprawl doesn't die to Lightning Bolt and stuff like that, right? Second of all, Arbor Elf and Utopia Sprawl, you are doing it.
You are doing it. That is true.
You are doing it.
So,
and
I guess you are doing. I guess every mana producing land in this deck, with the exception of a single mountain, is a forest of some kind, which is highly synergistic with the Arbor Elf.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to lean really hard into fetch lands in this deck.
You do. That's a weakness.
You really have to lean in because of Clothis, which is interesting because normally you don't want Clothis eating land. You want Clothis eating non-land. But this deck actually...
No. No, I think that there's more than just Clothis going on here. Part of it is that Arbor Elf really wants to have a stomping ground in play.
Sure.
And then second, Grim Lavamancer needs the fuel. This is a deck that really needs the Grim Lavamancer's, the work that the Grim Lavamancer puts in.
Yeah, but I think that the Clothis getting a mana is just going to jump you to Obosh and Glorybringer fast. That's
totally no. It's great here. Oh yeah, no, I agree. That's great.
You know what I think this is an exciting deck. I mean,
it is. Dude, life goes on.
Kitchen Finks is like. What do you think about Kitchen Finks' main deck? It seems a little.
It's not. It's not among my favorite cards in the deck.
I can respect playing it. Like, main deck is not powerful.
I think I might play the Kitchen Finks if I had to play 80. But if you're going to play Obosh, I don't know that you have to play the Kitchen Finks. Maybe it's the best. I don't know. It's surprising to me to think that it would be the best. Maybe I'm missing something. You're even a Grafdigger's Cage deck. I don't know, man. Maybe it's the best. It's just weird to me to think that it would be the best, just because it feels like you're going to be okay in a lot of those spots anyway. Maybe you need it though. I think I might be with you though. I think I might just put some of that action in the sideboard. I do like the Life Goes On though.
I think I would just want some more acceleration, right? Like, this deck is so powerful if it gets to 3-on-2. Right, like Clothis Mages.
Oh yeah, really, no. That's a good point. That's a good point. I think I would play some Llanowar Elves or something else to get a third little piece of action in there for making sure. Because I think you do want to go. I don't believe that turn 1 Grim Lavamancer makes up for not having a Llanowar Elf.
Oh, no way. First of all, I love Grim Lavamancer. I have like a Grim Lavamancer jersey. I have a Make Grim Lavamancer Great Again red hat, and I'm telling you that that's not a replacement for an accelerator in this deck. This deck, I think one of the things that's a little dodgy about it is it's a 22 land deck with 5 drops. So, like, hey, if you get your first 3 lands and an accelerator or 2, you are cruising. But that's asking a lot. It's asking people not to bolt your guy. It's asking you to actually hit 3rd land in a deck that only has 22. You know, that's we don't have any kind of like failsafe here. But I do like the idea.
I agree. I do agree. I think you're right. You need a couple elves. What do you like the idea of? Sorry.
It's just the deck. I think it's cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I would play, I think, different Hoser cards in the sideboard. Like you mentioned, this is a kind of Grafdigger's Cage, Relic of Progenitus sideboard. So obviously those are casting cost 1 cards, so they can work with Obosh, the Prey Piercer. I don't even like them. Relative to like Soul Guide Lantern, though, if people are playing with Uro, Soul Guide Lantern seems so much better. I
think you want to play Soul Guide Lantern. I agree with that. I do think though that I love the choke. You see, all these people who are playing the Arkham's Astrolab decks, they can get around Blood Moon in a way that they can't get around Choke.
Yeah, Choke is insane. Love it.
I do love it. Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely love it. People forget that it's legal all the time too.
Oh yeah, doesn't seem like it should be.
No, it's like from ancient days, right? Like, why don't you play Karma and Boil while you're at it, right? Well, they're not legal.
Dude, Boil. Ugh.
Dude, my very first Pro Tour, Matt Place Enlightened tutored for a Karma against me. I did not win. Not only did I not win, I was destroyed.
Dude, are you ready to have your mind blown?
Yeah.
Boil was an 8th edition, dog.
Boil is legal?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Dude, I used to have to play some of those, like Manamo and stuff like that. Obviously, everybody always talks about because you're trying to dodge Choke, but Boil is part of the equation, too. I mean, obviously, as an even cost, so you're not going to play it in an Obosh deck, but no, Choke is okay. But the problem with Boil is that you get back out of it. Choke is like ongoing. Plus, the difference between 3 and 4 is so big in this world of cryptic commands,
Oh, yeah, for sure. But the thing is, in that world of cryptic commands, when people are just like blowing a 4 or casting a Jace or something, you can catch them with a Boil. Right? That's nice.
Yeah, you used to be able to more. Now that a lot of people play Force and Negation.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you don't get them as much. But, like, that was such a sweet part of being able to fight back against the blue mages.
So, the other thing I really like about this deck is that in kind of attrition-y fair matchups, Klothys is, like, unbeatable. Right? So, if everybody's just going to play, like, fair Magic with regular cards, like not going crazy combos or something, like Klothys is at 3 mana, top of the hop, and separately in this deck versus like in a base red deck, Klothys actually turns on and becomes a 4/5 indestructible pretty reliably here. And so I think that dimension to the deck, combined with its ability to, soft disrupt certain strategies, it's good stuff.
Sure, yeah. I think this is a sweet deck. Did you see the 24th place Parrot count +1/+1 counters Hardened Scales deck? So they obviously got a new tool in the form of the Ozolith. Plus, Luris just works so smooth, just silky smooth for this deck. Because like when you look at their key cards, it's not like they really wanted to play anything that costs more than 2 anyway. The part that I think is interesting is, are we really in a world where Winding Constrictor is just not good enough for the Hardened Scales deck?
It's not good enough in the black-green +1/+1 counter linear strategy.
Right.
I guess. I mean, that card just seems better than the Ozolith to me. Like the Ozolith.
Oh, no. That's not the weak link. You can cut a lot of things in
before the Ozolith does it.
No, I do. Yeah, but okay. Maybe you could talk me into like one of the constrictors taking one of the Ozolith's spots, but I think that the Ozolith that's what's popping.
It's certainly exciting, right? It's like a bank.
No, but I'm saying it's really strong. You see, when all your cards have all these +1/+1 counters,
yeah, I know.
They can't make any headway.
I mean,
Heaven forbid you're doubling up with hardened scales.
They get a little time. Get a little bit of time. There's always a little gap before the Ozolith gives you a payoff between removals.
The part that I wonder is Metallic Mimic really better than Winding Constrictor? That's the one I guess you can Ancient Stirrings to it, I guess. I don't know, man.
That seems like a horrendous waste of an Ancient Stirring.
I know.
Like, you want the Ancient Stirrings to crack the table.
Like, I get Hangerback Walker, Walking Ballista, Arcbound Worker, Arcbound Ravager. You just want some cards that keep it going, you know? Metallic Mimic, it's like... Isn't this like aspiring to be a Winding Constrictor? I don't know.
I mean, I think it's a little faster than a Winding Constrictor, but like it has far less staying power. I feel like a Winding Constrictor, if it sticks around for 2 turns or whatever, is going to pay you quite a few +1/+1 counters, whereas Metallic Mimic is just you're going to burst a little bit harder short term, but I think you're right. I think that's the weak link for sure. Like 3 Metallic Mimic can become 3 Winding Constrictor, 1 the Ozolith can become a Winding Constrictor. We're almost there.
I don't know. I wouldn't start by cutting the Ozolith, man. I think you're just not a believer. I'd start by cutting Throne of Geth or something. I think the Ozolith is... maybe you end up cutting the third one, but I would start with it in.
Patrick, Throne of Geth is like...
I know.
It's 0 mana activation cost. If you have a Hardened Scales in play, it's... I don't know, like, I think that, like, 1 or 2... EOT...
Dude, just play, like, 2 or 3... Just play 2 or 3 Winding Constrictors.
Untap Throne of Geth. And you can also sacrifice, like, an Arcbound Ravager. It's like... You're going to get a lot of +1/+1 counters. Also, can't you sacrifice itself?
Okay. Just, maybe don't play any Winding Constrictors. Just play artifacts. I just like the fact that Winding Constrictor gives you another out that doesn't just get colded by kill all artifacts and stuff like that,
Yeah. It's nice to see that Lurrus of the Dream Den is going to see some play, though. Luckily, this +1/+1 counters deck has found a home for Lurrus of the Dream Den. He's probably worried that he wasn't going to see any play. Lutri or someone was going to be the big companion in Modern, but it's okay. Thanks a lot, Black-Green Winding Constrictor lists +1/+1 counter deck. You found a place for Lurrus.
So, dude, the 32nd place list. Fallen Conflicts, 4 Luca Coppercoat Outcast, and this is a deck with 26 creatures. Oh, 26 creatures, you say? Well, if you take a look at the costs of them, first of all, remember this is an Obosh deck. So there's Arbor Elf, Bird of Paradise. Those are some ones. You're like, okay, that's not too weird. Fine. Then there's Bone Crusher Giant, Kitchen Finks, Clothis, Magus of the Moon, Seasoned Pyromancer, and Planebound Accomplice, which is that 1/3 human wizard. You can pay red to put a Planeswalker card from your hand onto the battlefield, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. So it's like a sneak attack for Planeswalkers, which is of particular relevance when you have Luca Coppercoat Outcast. Like it lets you just sneak attack the Outcast, and then once you have the sneak attack out Luca, you target the Planebound Accomplice or any other 3 you want.
So don't hit the Birds of Paradise or the Arbor Elf.
Well, you don't want to target your Birds of Paradise or Arbor Elf, right? Because they're usually going to turn into a 3.
Yep.
But it's not like that's the end of the world if that's what it comes to. The part that is so sweet is that if you just target one of your 3s, the only card in your deck that costs more than 3, the only creature in your deck that costs more than 3 is the one Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn.
It costs 15, yep.
And it costs 15. That's an odd amount.
Yep.
That's an odd amount.
This is interesting. I think this is trying kind of hard.
He's trying kind of hard. I think that's a that's a really good description.
There are a lot simpler ways to get some of these payoffs.
Dude, if you can just put Emrakul down on turn 2.
You can.
Turn 1, Arbor Elf. Turn 2, Utopia Sprawl your other land. Get 2 mana. Arbor Elf, untap it. Get 2 more. Play the Planebound Accomplice. Spend the last mana to play Luca. Luca, your Accomplice. Get Emrakul. Go.
That sentence, if we can call it a single sentence, is the definition of trying real hard.
Semicolons, man. You can call anything.
There's a lot of semicolons. And also, like, the one Pillage and the one Seal of Fire, those are trying real hard to me. 20 land? I don't know. Like, I feel like this deck just seems way less exciting to me than the other Obosh red-green deck, the one that doesn't have a Luca, Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn combo. Like, I feel like that deck's plan is just going to come together more often. And if you were to go this direction, I think that Luca is a really cool new tool that can be utilized for this purpose, but I think that you can do it without going with, like, all of these random creatures. There's the previous version with, like, the Teferi and the Dwarf land. You know what? Maybe I'm wrong. You can just play, like, a random, like, regular creature deck, or you can just go, like, Arbor Elf, Kitchen Finks, Bone Crusher Giant, let's go. Or you just play regular Magic for, like, 4 turns, then your opponent starts catching up, and you're like, just kidding! Luca, Emrakul, got you! You could do that.
Dude, if you switch over to the Modern League, the most recent Modern League, there's a couple decks here that I wanted to get your take on.
Yeah.
The first, so RBV Tenor 1's 5-0 list is a Felidar Guardian Saheeli Rai deck. Now, like all decks, it has 80 cards because it's a Yorion deck. And if you Yorion, this isn't one of the decks that gets the absolute most out of its Yorion. You know, it's not like you're just doing pretty pedestrian stuff like blinking your Omen of the Sea and your Arkham's Astrolabe.
I mean, it is nice to see Omen of the Sea in a modern deck.
Yeah. But what do you think, man? It is, at the end of the day, a Saheeli Rai Felidar Guardian deck that sets it up with the Fairy.
I like a lot of those principles. I think you're just gonna get after me on this one. If you're gonna play a 2-card infinite damage combo deck, I don't think an 80-card shell makes the most sense. Right? Like, this deck has 2 opts. Like, it's just like, all right, I have a cute Yorion deck. If you're gonna play a cute Yorion deck, there are other cute Yorion decks.
Dude, the Yorion Snapcaster Mage? Yeah.
That is the definition of cute.
Wait, so help me understand, why do you need 4 Path decks, have 4 Lightning Bolt, and 3 Lightning Helix? Like, what happened here?
I don't know. There's 2 opts. Like, this deck literally has a 2-card infinite damage combo. And there's 2 opts, but, 3 Lightning Helix.
I don't know, man.
That makes no sense to me.
Nah, it's just a little bit of soul. The next deck down, though, Axe 5-0 list, this is a little bit different of a take. So, picture a Boggles deck.
Yeah.
Now, instead of any Boggles, you have Core.
Yeah.
And then instead of all those auras, you've got some equipment. You got some equipment and some ways to get your equipment.
But it's not the obvious equipment. Why play good equipment when you can play
this is
great equipment?
This is a Stoneforge Mystic deck where your gits are Colossus Hammer and Shadow Spear.
So you thought this combo up months and months ago when Colossus Hammer was first spoiled, right? So Colossus Hammer costs 1, but its equip cost is 8. It gives the dude +10/+10, though. So how do you get 8 in a deck with only 21 lands? You just devote the rest of your deck to being able to equip things for cheap.
So Sigarda's Aid, obviously, is just white enchantment. Whenever an equipment... so first it's got this thing about auras and equipment you can play as though they had flash. But then whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach it to target creature you control. So you can actually attack, and whichever one they don't block, you get to just spend 1 mana, play the hammer as a permanent +10/+10. So that's 4 of your ways.
Yeah, so Core Duelist would be a great target for that because he has double strike. So
and then they're just taking 22.
Damage. Yeah.
Right. And then Core Outfitter is a white 2/2 that when it enters the battlefield, you can attach target equipment you control to target creature you control. And then Magnetic Theft is just, this one's old school. So it's just red instant, attach target equipment to target creature.
That is crazy. It's like I guess it's just like a red giant growth, but for +10/+10, if you have a Colossus Hammer in play.
And then, obviously this deck is frequently going to just be making an 11/11 or 12/12 or whatever. And so it's got Giver of Runes and Spellskite to try to help make sure that you get a chance to actually untap with your 11/11 or 12/12. But you've also got chances. You mentioned the Core Duelist. There's also Swiftblade Vindicator, which is just a 1/1 double strike vigilance trample, giving you another angle to try to. And then what do you do if you don't have the hammer? Well, there's 4 hammers, of course, but there's also 4 Steel Shaper's Gifts, which is just white. Go get the hammer. And then there's 4 copies of Stoneforge Mystic, which is 2 mana, go get the hammer, and then you also have a 1/2.
So earlier I was just kind of like ragging on Boggles a little bit relative to Infect, but I think this deck is just sweet. I
think this is so much more exciting than Infect.
I like it better than Infect. I think it has
This is an Infect deck, though.
It has Inkmoth Nexus.
And dude, is that not the best creature to give +10/+10 to?
It's a pretty good one, right? That's a one-shot kill. So this deck has, I think, like the sheer damage output and explosiveness of Infect, right? Like if you look at some of these cards like Magnetic Theft, you're just like, oh, this card doesn't do anything if you don't have X, right? You need to finish your sentence. But that's how Infect is. Infect is like you play a guy and then you just cast a bunch of stuff to make that guy really, really powerful for one attack, right? I think this is very similar. It has a lot of that same explosiveness, but this deck has, I think, way greater resilience against certain strategies, like removal-based strategies, even than Boggles. Like it, instead of just having hexproof guys, it actually just has Giver of Runes and Spellskite, which bedevil a wide variety of different sorts of interaction. And then this sideboard is insane. Like, 1 Burnt and Forge Tender. I mean, Lures to the Dream Den, obviously, which has lifelink. 3 Core Firewalker.
By the way.
Like, it's got, like, Grand Abolisher. Like, it's also, like, a Hate Bears deck. I think this is, like...
This deck is very exciting.
I think it is very, very exciting. Besides the fact that you could just get Shadow Spear and just legit beat someone on the regular Magic the Gathering axis.
And that's to say nothing of if you face a Boggles deck, hey, they don't even have hexproof anymore.
That matters less in this deck because you don't actually have any removal.
So, dude, do you realize...
1 Path to Exile on the sideboard. I take it back.
So this deck actually goldfishes turn 2 10% of the time. How insane is that?
It's pretty insane if somebody's first turn Arkham's Astrolabe, you're like, wrong decision, my friend.
Now, I don't know if you can mulligan that aggressively to try to set that whole thing up. So you might, in practice, find it to be more like 5, 6, 7, 8%. But the interaction is if you just draw the Core Duelist and the Colossus Hammer, as long as you have 2 mana by turn 2, all you need to do is play the Core Duelist on turn 1, and then on the next turn, if you have either Sigarda's Aid or Magnetic Theft, you can just kill them immediately.
I like it.
Like, that's like a pretty good bunch of free wins right there. And then the amount of turn 3s is crazy.
So, by contrast, Infect never goldfishes on turn 2. Is that correct?
Not in practice. Not in that. the way that you really are supposed to build the Infect deck doesn't lead you to a spot of being able to do that very often.
And
in theory, you can end up in some sort of a +6, and but this deck turn twos more often. Let's put it that way, by a good amount.
So the thing that I love about this deck is that in addition to having these hella explosive draws, having an insane amount of resilience to removal, in addition to having Inkmoth Nexus, which is quite a good backup plan, right? It has actual very good cards as well, right? Like, Stoneforge Mystic used to be banned, right?
Yeah.
Spellskite was $20 on the secondary market the first weekend it was legal to play, right? Like, this is just like, here are some really good cards, and you can do a broken thing with them, but you can just grind if you wanted to. You're just like, all right, I've got a Stoneforge Mystic and a Shadow Spear. Can you beat this? Like, that doesn't seem like that exciting of two words to say, but like, it's actually giving you pretty good angle in some matchups. Plus, you've got like all these hate bears in the sideboard are really, really impactful, right? Like, Grand Abolisher and Ethersworn Canonist and True Believer are all like, in the correct matchup, just completely upend the opponent's ability to play their game.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's not like Soul Guy Lantern's any slouch either. It's not a hate bear, but yeah, no, I love it. I think this is so far that, I mean, this is my pick for deck of the week.
I think I agree. I think this has got to be deck of the week, if for no other reason than it can exploit people who are playing cards like Abundant Growth or Arkham's Astrolabe on the first turn. And I mean, Red was like the winningest deck for several weeks when Luris first got printed, but like, you cannot lose to the Red deck. I think, like, legitimately, the sideboard is too powerful, and plus, like, just like Spellskite Giver over in Shadow Spear in game one, you could just chip shot them for the entire game, and they're just not going to come back. You don't even have to go off.
Okay, dude, help me understand what in the world is going on with Mash Malakovsky's 5-0 Garuda deck. So this Garuda deck, it's got a little bit of a twist. So the new engine here is Aether Mage's Touch. And this is a deck that some of its evens include one copy of Jin Gataxias, Core Augur, one copy of Platinum Empyrean, 2 copies of Torrential Gearhulk, presumably hoping to get an Aether Mage's Touch back, 1 copy of Mystic Snake of all evens.
Nice.
Yes. And then the big thing is 4 copies of Kozilek, Butcher of Truth.
You think that Kozilek is the big thing, not Primeval Titan?
I meant the big thing as in unusual.
Oh, okay.
I think, yeah, of course. Like, Primeval Titan seems great. Yeah, why not?
So Garuda,
particularly, you got to ramp up to your Kozileks, man.
Wait, so if you cast Garuda and flip over Kozilek, Kozilek's trigger goes on the stack, but Garuda can put it in play before that happens? Is that a thing that happens?
Garuda can put what in play?
Kozilek.
Well, you Kozilek, like, you Garuda.
Yeah, you Garuda.
And then, right, when you Garuda, then you get to put Kozilek onto the battlefield, but you don't get to draw the cards.
No, what I mean, like, so Garuda flips over cards, right? So one of them is Kozilek. Kozilek's trigger goes on the stack, but before that happens, you can just put it in play with Garuda.
Oh, from going to the graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's all happening at once. Like, you flip them all, it doesn't even get a chance yet because you just choose Kozilek, and now you just have Kozilek in play.
Yeah, well, that seems pretty awesome. I mean, like, Kozilek isn't even. It's very, very powerful if it's in play. I think so. I think the Mystic Snake is weird.
Super weird. What's going on? There's like 1 Commit Memory, 1 Mystic Snake, 1 Platinum Empyrean, 1 Jin Gataxias Core Augur. What's happening here? It's the 1 Commit Memory because when you start decking yourself, then you can go Torrential Gearhulk, your Commit Memory, and now your deck is full again?
I think the Torrential Gearhulk is weird. This deck doesn't have very many hits.
Dude, it's almost entirely 6s through 10s.
Look, I remember back when Aether Mage's Touch was first printed, Zvi tried to convince me that this was like the Busto card. Just like, oh, no, you don't get it. This card is going to save you so much mana. Maybe it's true. All right, so Aether Mage's Touch for 4, Farseek into Aether Mage's Touch. You can get the party started, and you can get the party started on their turn.
So I take it you don't have any insights into why these particular... I mean, I get they're all evens and there's some powerful stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of logic behind one Mystic Snake. One Jin Gitaxias is awesome. Like, if you get the Jin Gitaxias, like, they're pretty much locked, right? Like,
what are the 1 Winds of Abandon in the sideboard? That's the 1 and a white sorcery. Exile target creature you don't control. For each creature exiled this way, its controller searches their library for a basic land. Those players put those cards under the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle their libraries, and has overload of 4 white. So for 2 mana, you get to path to exile their one of their creatures. But the big thing is that it costs an even amount, unlike Path to Exile.
So even Path to Exile is pretty cool, and then you can overload for 6.
And then you can really do it. You got some acceleration.
This deck for sure can cast it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like maybe they should play more. You know what card is really great? That's an even
Broken Bond?
Worship. I was thinking.
Oh, Worship is definitely.
Like, the toughness on these creatures is insane, right? Like there's like 6, there's 12, there's 8. Like you just get any of these guys to play like Worship. Go on, kill him, right? Like they can't kill him.
Dude, I love it. You're such a red mage now. I love it. It's pure.
Are there any hexproof guys? There are, right? Like Sylvan Caryatid is hexproof, right? Just like Sylvan Caryatid turn 2, turn 3 Worship. You might just win the game right there.
Dude, can you imagine just being in the space where all of your Worship is hinging on the 1 Mystic Snake? You just have 1 Mystic Snake in play. That's your only creature. And you're just like, please, Snake, stay alive.
I mean, odder things have happened, right? Like...
there's a different take on Boggles.
You gotta try to kill them, though. That's the problem, right? Like that's not a permanent solution.
So Graham's Boggles list is a really different kind of Boggles deck. So this Boggles deck has substantially less white than we usually see. It still has Ethereal Armor and Daybreak Coronet, but this is a Staggering Insight, Arcane Flight, Force of Negation, Serum Visions style of Boggles.
Wow, this is like a. It's like more of an aggro control than like just.
This is put Curious Obsession or Staggering Insight on your Boggles, so you can draw more Boggles and more Curious Obsessions.
I think like part of it's got to be like you're just going to draw Force of Negation and then hold your lead. Right?
Yeah. Totally. I think that's the reason that you're blue is that you believe in the strength of if you just start doing your thing, Force of Negation is so frequently just going to be a winning play.
Yeah. I don't know. I think this deck's actually probably pretty great if people are going to go deeply into the Yorion decks, right? Like the Yorion type decks don't have really consistent resistance to 1/1 hexproofs in the first 3 turns of the game. So you just get a lead and then, Serum Visions into a Force Negation, then kill them before they get their good thing online, which is probably turn 4, turn 5. I like that. It's actually not bad at all to me. It's not nearly as exciting as just getting a Colossus Hammer, but the fact that this deck can hold its lead is it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm still in for Hammer time.
Yeah, I mean, killing someone on the second turn and having a bunch of good cards is more exciting to me than having a bunch of medium cards that you happen to all pile onto one card, and hopefully having your 1 counter spell class.
And then I guess real quick, there's 2 other decks here. The Electro Dominance deck, I know you always love to see it. I mean, this one doesn't really have anything new, and like I don't know how you can like just play no companions and no new cards, but you do like to see it. Crashing footfalls, restore balance, ancestral vision. Um, this is Hugo Freitas.
Yeah, Hugo
with
Freitas won.
Yeah, with Electrodominances and As Fortolds as kind of the engine to pull it together. Have you ever been into these kind of decks? I know you were talking about Electrodominance at one point.
Yeah, I mean, I've never played one. I mean, I've certainly lost to them playing in Modern. This kind of deck is actually very, very good against focused beatdown decks. You can... Like, the thing is, like, anybody who's trying to just get material in play is just automatically vulnerable to restore balance. And then you can actually win relatively quickly because Greater Gargadon wins in, like, 2 swings usually. Plus, like, Electro Dominance just gets them for a few points. So, I think it certainly has angles to win. And I've never been into it. I can see some...
It's not an accusation.
I don't know. I feel like if people are going to play cards like Remand and other types of counterspells, which we've seen in some of the decks, that are, for example, the deck that won the qualifier was like a Yorion control deck. Also, this deck is this entire strategy is atrocious if people are playing Teferi. That's the thing that I'd say. Like, that's the number one reason why I wouldn't want to personally play it. Can't really beat a room full of Teferis. Obviously, you can beat a Teferi, right? You can just bolt it or something, or spell pierce it if you get lucky. But if Teferi is popular, Electro Dominance not good.
The other strategy was if you just do a search for Lightning Skelemental.
Well, you got me at Skelemental. Ichiroku's Flamekin Harbinger deck.
Oh yeah, so there's actually 2 different Flamekin Harbinger decks, but Ichiroku seemed more up your speed. It's like dedicated elementals, right? Like this is a lot of elementals. What do you think of Vesper Lark? You can go get your Harbinger back.
Yeah, you can, and you can evoke it. I don't know. I've never been inspired to think about Vesperlark before just now. So everything's an elemental here. So Voice of Resurgence is an elemental. Oh, Unsettled Mariner is not. He is a shapeshifter, but he is a changeling.
Yeah, so he is an elemental.
Yeah, I don't know. This does not seem like a deck I would want to play.
So I think this deck is sweet.
Yeah.
I think this deck it's like the Colossus Hammer deck we were talking about earlier, except it's a turn and a half slower, and it has a lot less interaction and worse mana.
And much worse cards.
Well, that's how you got to all those other things.
I mean, like, this deck has, like, a 1/1 for 1 that modifies your library sometimes.
Well, be careful. Dude, it's not like the 1/1s for 1 in the Colossus Hammer deck or anything to write home about.
No, but that card, when you don't deal with their 1/1, it just kills you. Or this one's just like, oh, you're gonna get it. I'm gonna get my Smoke Braider. Why is there not 4 Smoke Braiders in this deck?
Dude, Smoke Braider's not what's happening. Risen Reef is what's happening.
Yeah, but you don't think 4 Smoke Braiders? Like, that guy is like...
Nah.
He's
summoning sick.
All right. Well, I mean, what about Omnath? Omnath is like...
Well, you only need 1. Yeah, but once you start going, you only need the 1.
It has 3 toughness. What if they kill it?
It doesn't have 3 toughness for long.
All right.
There's a different elemental deck, though, that was a little bit more exotic, if you will. It's... God, we didn't even talk about the Winota deck. Well, that's okay. There's an elemental deck that also is a Saheeli Rai deck. And I know you love a good fusion combo. So Armstrong's 5-0 list, it's Saheeli Rai to Fairy, but instead of once you got to play 80 cards and play some Yorion deck, this is a Yorion deck that's going to blink Risen Reef and Revelark and Flicker Wisp or Felidar, all this stuff.
Oh my god,
right?
Revelark, that was your guy.
Dude,
Remember?
how insane is it when you have Flamekin Harbinger and actually have a good elemental like Revelark to go
A
get?
really good elemental.
I also appreciate the discipline of us of mixing it up. 2 Eldamri's Call, 3 Eldritch Evolution, and 2 Flamekin Harbinger. You're not actually just trying too hard, you know. You've got Eldamri's Call and Eldritch Evolution, and you like switch it on them. You switch from elementals into Saheeli Rai, into Copycat.
I like that. I think that hybridization is it's very exciting because obviously if you're opening up on like a Flamekin Harbinger or like early stuff Birds of Paradise, people are going to be thinking a certain way. They're gonna prepare to fight you on like this guy's got a bunch of elemental creatures access, and then boom, you switch the script on them, and then just infinite damage them again. I do not understand why if you're going to play a infinite damage 2-card combo, you do it in an 80-card deck.
Because Yorion is... I think you just haven't played with Yorion enough. Yorion is a messed up card.
I have played against Yorion a lot. I respect Yorion. I'm just saying, if you're going to do some of these...
Well, then you know why. Why.
There are other companions that you can play.
I don't think so, man. Because, like, part of the conceit here is that you're playing Saheeli Rai and the Felidar Guardian. Once you play with cards that cost 3 or more, like...
I guess one's even, one's odd.
Right.
One of them doesn't have an activation cost.
Right. There's, what's your companion, man?
Yeah, I guess maybe you're right. Jigantha can do it.
Dude, so when you've got a Winota Joiner of Forces... and you get to just play Aura-touched Mage. I mean, obviously Agent of Treachery, but that's like, that's pretty old.
That's old hat. Everybody's doing that.
But being able to Winota your Seasoned Pyromancer or Aura-touched Mage? Yeah, because you're going to Aura-touch Mage for Colossification.
Oh my gosh, Colossification. What do you think about Colossification? What about bringing back the old Lost Alara strategy? Isn't this even better?
I mean, it's +20/+20. They're dead.
Yeah.
The nice thing is, if you like, for instance, if you Eldritch Evolution, or so first of all, Aura-touch Mage is a human. Got it, right? But second, if you Winota your Aura-touch Mage, your opponent's dead. Because they're taking 23 or whatever. But if your Eldritch Evolution goes and gets Aura-touch Mage, the only thing is, how are you even doing it besides sacrificing your Winota? I don't know, man. 2 Colossification and only 2 Aura-touch Mage. Maybe you're just going to get so many Winota triggers that you find your combo.
Patrick, is it really better this is like a lot of work to get that. Like, why not just like dial it back to the days of Rapture the Champion and just like play 60 really, really good cards, or 58 really good cards and like 2 Colossification.
78 really good cards and 2 Colossification.
Yeah, but I feel like, all right, let's go with the 78 version. Isn't that better than like just jumping through a lot of these hoops? You could just like have Jace the Mind Sculptor. You just have it. You just have Noble Hierarch. Like, Raptor didn't even have Growth Spiral. You could just add Growth Spiral to Raptor's already great strategy. They unbanned Jace the Mind Sculptor. 78 great cards. Kill them with 1 attack. I'm into it. Doesn't have to be all this work.
Yeah, some of the stuff here is a little fancy too. Like, you get your 80 cards, you only got room for 2 Teferis because you got to have the 2/2 split with Nimble Obstructionist. I don't know. Seems fancy to me.
I mean, yeah, I think, okay, here's one I'm going to be on board. We're like, all right, we're now a 2-card combo. It's not even a 2-card combo deck. It's now a 1-card combo deck. Like, can you imagine just having Raptor's Championship list, but he has access to Growth Spiral and Teferi, which are 2 cards that were not that did not exist when he made that insane list. How long was it? Forever ago, 10 years ago, or whatever. Right? Like,
it wasn't that long ago, but sure,
like
I know what you mean.
Whatever. That deck was insanely good, super deserving champion. I think that you could put it all together and it would be super hot. I mean, Arboreal Grazer, he would fit right on the team. Everyone would love Arboreal Grazer on that team.
Yeah, possibly even Sakurtrop Scout.
So
I think that's worth investigating. I would try it.
I mean, Lost Alara, Abundant Growth, Classification, it's just simple ways are okay.
Dude, I bet this deck is sick though. You just go turn 1 Arboreal Grazer, and then turn 2 you're playing like Coiling Oracle and Sakura Tri Scout, and then turn 3 you Eldritch Evolution your Winota and steal all your opponent's permanents and hit them for 27 or whatever.
I think you should probably work your Teferi in there first, because other people like to do things too, and this is a house of cards. So,
dude, I don't know anything about Teferi. I'm just playing the Colossus Hammer.
I'm in agreement with you. Colossus Hammer is my favorite deck of the week.
Awesome.
Get there.
All right. See you next week.
Left behind, had to find a way not to lose my mind. Trapped in a vault with